Hello, this is David Harper of Bionic Turtle with a look at securitization using a corporation compared to using a trust for FRM candidates. This is from Christopher Kolb's chapter on securitization. First, let's look at the use of a corporation. In this case, the originator, who originally owns the credit-sensitive assets, sells those assets to a corporation, here the special purpose company. Now, the special purpose company issues securities to investors with the help of the underwriters, such that, as we've seen before in securitizations generically, the investors now hold asset-backed securities that are claims on the special purpose company itself. And here's the key point. The original credit-sensitive assets are the collateral against the securities issued to the investors. So that's the corporation approach. Now let's compare to the trust. And really we mean two trusts. So when there's a trust employed, it starts the same way. The originator sells the credit-sensitive assets to the master trust, in this case, Special Purpose Entity 1. So as before, the special purpose entity is purchasing the assets from the originator. Now the difference is this master trust deposits the assets into a second trust, here called the Grantor Trust or Special Purpose Entity 2. In exchange for that, the master trust retains a so-called beneficial interest in the second trust. And as before, investors purchase securities with the help of the underwriter, but now, instead of the original assets serving as collateral, the beneficial interests that were retained by the master trust serve as the collateral for the asset-backed securities that were issued to investors. So from the investor standpoint, the perspective is much the same. Why do they go to the trouble to create the two trusts? It is to remove the originator from being in the loop, so to speak, with the transaction. The originator generally wants to effect a so-called true sale and achieve favorable tax status, and wants to be bankruptcy remote from the trust. And the use of the two trusts generally creates this distance. And remember, in the case of bankruptcy remote, what we mean by that is we really want the credit-sensitive assets to be remote from the originator's bankruptcy. Because if the originator should go bankrupt, we don't want the credit-sensitive assets to be reachable from creditors of the originator. If it were not bankruptcy remote, then investors in these credit-sensitive assets would have to worry about a bankruptcy from the originator, and then those creditors coming after their assets. So the bankruptcy remote is what allows the securitization to achieve a higher credit quality. This is David Harper, the Bionic Turtle. Thanks for your time.